I will let you speak for up to half an hour.
Half an hour.
You can talk about whatever you want or a little bit less, and we have a bunch of questions for you, including the ones from the club. So, are you ready, miss?
Yeah, that's
on. Just real quick, if you...
Can you put my mugshot back up here?
Yes, I will. I'm going to put your mug shot.
He loves looking at
But
his picture.
I know.
to stay in the camera, if you can stay further to the back, because otherwise your head gets cut off.
Yeah, but see,
Like a jihadist
You'll be
does.
fine.
Yeah, but we're talking about jihadists and we're talking
Jihadists cut your head
As
off.
close
Close to the rhino as possible.
Yeah, you can move
the
around.
problem is I'm a courtroom lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so we like to move around.
I walk
That's
around.
okay.
Do I have to use this thing? Because my kid tells me I have a
Yeah,
coach's
that's
voice.
because it
Oh,
comes out better.
that's
for the-
because of this thing?
Yeah, it's until I get a better camera. You
Half
can
an
donate-
hour,
you
use
can
a
donate
microphone,
better camera to the
And you're
club.
telling the lawyer I have to kind of calm down with my tone.
Take your hand out of your
I
pocket.
have-
Take my hand out of my pocket and move just this way, right?
Me too.
All right. My name's Stephen Leskovich. Ozzy, thank you for driving from Miami. I have spent probably in the last 6 months close to 12,000 miles driving to and from Miami, Fort Lauderdale,
Everywhere.
Hialeah,
Everywhere.
Palm Beach, running for Attorney General for the state of Florida. So let me first tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a resident of Charlotte County for now 20 years. Moved to Florida in 1999. I came from Detroit. Got tired. Yeah, exactly.
Stay in the center of the place.
Stay in the center of the camera. I'm gonna make her just move it back and forth.
She's gonna have to
You know,
move it.
we're gonna see how good she is here. Came here because I wanted to get out of the snow. And
Where was that?
from Detroit. Came from Detroit. Grew up in Ohio. My father was a history teacher, history professor. My mother was an elementary school teacher. I then went off to Princeton initially to play football. Ended up leaving Princeton and went to Kent State University, which was unfortunately the first school shooting on May 4th, 1970.
Yeah.
So the history behind that and learning it from my father, and then of course being there, I was at Kent during the 25th anniversary of it. Crosby, Stills,
Dead in
Nash
Ohio.
came back. What's that?
4 dead in Ohio.
Exactly.
I remember that song.
Now,
I
being
grew up
from
in
Ohio, we don't like the Michiganders. So I ended up going to law school up in Michigan.
70s.
Yeah,
And,
I was born in the
and
50s.
my wife is from Michigan. So we love each other except for one day out of the year when they play football. Several years later, I ended up going back to school and got my PhD in organizational psychology, which a psychologist deals with the individuals, organizational psychology deals with the entity, on how to, in essence, be a disruptor, how to be a change agent like Donald Trump. He's a disruptor, he's a change agent. He does what he wants to do, he helps people believe in what he believes in. He's not telling you, he's persuading you. That's what I believe good courtroom lawyers do. They always say, I argue to you, I tell you, I this. No, I'm here to persuade you. So, running for Attorney General has been fun, but Ozzy, you gave me a great idea. Did you know the state of Florida does not have any type of task force dealing with veterans?
Yeah,
Counties have some task forces, but also J6ers, law enforcement, nothing to deal with the mental health aspect of what first responders and J6ers or veterans deal with. So it creates a very interesting component of something I want to look into. Maybe,
We have a veterans council.
well, we have
in the county.
a veterans council, but nothing statewide.
Right. They only
There's
have-
nothing statewide.
They have the VA,
VA's got
which
counsel.
repeats what they're told in Washington.
Yeah, correct.
And I've
Correct.
talked to the general several
Yeah.
times.
So I jumped into this Attorney General race last year for two reasons. One, I have a 10-year-old daughter who was diagnosed at the age of 5 with type 1 diabetes. And we have to give her between 4 to 6 shots of insulin a day.
Wow.
And, you know, it's tough because you have two choices. You can regiment her life and on a strict diet, you can't do anything basically because you're completely monitoring her glucose levels and she can't be a normal kid. Or we can let her be a normal kid and we deal with the ramifications after she eats her cupcake at school because her friend's birthday is there. So it made me think when I went to the government and said, my kid didn't ask for diabetes. And they said, sorry, we can't do anything to help you. So it kind of upset me a little bit. And they said, if you want the laws changed, go become a legislator. But if you want to enforce the laws, you need to be the Attorney General. Well, there are laws out there to help protect children who have medical issues. But the state pushes it below the rug. That was number one factor. Number two is growing up in a household where my father was a history professor. I was instilled with the Constitution. When my older brother was born, my father gave him a football. And he went on to play college football. My younger brother was given a soccer ball, and he goes on to play college soccer. Why my dad gave me a Constitution, I have no damn idea. But I still have it.
Good stuff.
I still have it. Now, albeit I played college football as well, but I still have the Constitution my dad gave me when I was born. So I had many conversations with my father and my mother about the rule of law. So I myself am a constitutional conservative who believes in institutional integrity and stability that propagates the rule of law. So basically, what does that mean? I don't lie, I don't cheat, and I don't steal. That's the bottom line. So being the Attorney General, there's 6 aspects of what they're supposed to do. Defend all laws, foreign and domestic, and arrest those and prosecute those who commit crime. Number 1. Number 2, then you have criminal appeals. You defend the state in any criminal appeal after someone is convicted. Number 3, you have the Crime Compensations Trust Fund. If you are the victim of a crime, you're supposed to be able to apply to the state for reimbursement, but somehow this fund isn't funded, or it's underfunded. Number 4 you have to defend all civil laws, that you defend the state in all civil litigation, regardless of what the litigation is for. You have to defend all the parks, waterways, and roads in the state. And to me, one of the most important ones is you have to defend all laws. So we always hear about someone as an activist judge. Activist judges do what they want to do. They make their own laws. They disregard. The Attorney General is not the personal attorney for the governor. That's in the Constitution of Florida. The Attorney General is not there to pick and choose what laws you can and cannot defend. If I wanted to pick and choose what laws I wanted to defend, I would go become a legislator or a county commissioner or a county commissioner. And you make the laws. So it kind of goes back to, we hear a lot about the home rule for local governments. It's the same way. If you don't like the law, you change the law. You can't just pick and choose. So where I disagree with our current appointed Attorney General is something fundamental on why I believe we have a problem.
I'm sorry, Steve.
Yes.
Our state attorney general?
Correct, the
Right.
state.
Okay,
I
thank
think,
you.
well, we have
I
Amira
just
Fox,
want to clarify.
who is our state
But she-
attorney.
Right, but didn't she go into the Senate now over Marco Rubio?
Oh, no, that's Ashley Moody.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, Ashley Moody was
That's
elected
correct. You're right.
in 18
Yeah, my
and
bad.
22,
Yeah.
and then got appointed to fill Marco
That's
Rubio's
right.
spot.
It's Ashley Moody that way.
So our current appointed Attorney General has come out publicly on numerous occasions and said, I don't like this law, and the state of Florida will not defend it.
Isn't that a dereliction of duty?
It is a dereliction of duty.
Well,
It's not his job to do so. Let me give you this example. Me being Catholic, born and raised, went to Catholic schools, I don't believe in abortion. Florida has the 6-week abortion ban now. You can't get an abortion after 6 weeks. Imagine we get an attorney general who comes in and says, I think the 6-week abortion ban is unconstitutional. And the state of Florida will no longer defend it.
He doesn't have that right.
Ah, you don't have that right. But our current attorney general comes out and says, we're not going to defend this law.
which
Or
law-
we're not going to
which law is
defend that law.
that? Which law?
Well, this is an interesting thing. I'm gonna come back to you, it comes back to firearms as well. I have, being a courtroom lawyer, I have long rifles, I have short rifles, I have sawed-off rifles, I have pistols, I have handguns, semi-automatics, whatever.
Ever have a zip gun?
No, I do not.
And you grew up in the Bronx?
No, I don't. I didn't grow up in the Bronx, no. So, when Pam Bondi was the Attorney General in Florida, Craig, and when Ashley Moody was the Attorney General in Florida, here's what they did. The US government currently has a law that you cannot buy a a handgun, if you're under the age of 21.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it. That's federal law. We can't change that. After the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting in 2018, the state of Florida came out and said, we are now going to implement the federal law on handguns. However, we're going to say you can't buy a rifle under the age of 21. So if you're under the age of 21, you're not buying any firearm in the state of Florida, period. Now, I am an avid Second Amendment believer. You know, if I can join the military, I should be allowed to buy a firearm.
Mm-hmm.
If I, I can't drink a beer at 18, but if I can drive an automobile when I'm 18, I should be able to buy a firearm. Because the Second Amendment is there to protect law-abiding citizens.
Amen.
Now, if I'm a convicted felon, there's restrictions and all that. The current Attorney General said, I don't like this law, and I'm not going to defend it. Now, I'm a card-carrying member of the NRA, have been for decades, and he turned around and asked the NRA to take the case to the US Supreme Court, and that the state of Florida will not even show up in court to defend their own laws. Pam Bondi and Ashley Moody both said on the exact same issue, we hate this law, we don't like this law, but it is our duty ethically to defend the law. And they successfully defended it 7 times in court. But they publicly came out and said, we don't like it.
But they did their job.
But they did their job.
So, which is that? The red flag law?
Well, the red flag law is about mental health. If someone poses a danger, then law enforcement can petition the courts to have your firearms taken away. The red flag
Without
laws
due process.
came
Without due process, that's the big thing.
without initial due process. You get it after you've been served the papers and after the firearms have been confiscated. They don't give you due process initially. Now, with the red flag laws, if you guys don't know what those are, is if you pose a danger to society, if law enforcement believes you pose a danger to society because of mental health reasons, and you own firearms, they can petition the courts to have you deemed a danger to society and take your firearms. Now, they can serve you prior to you being served with papers, they can take your firearms and then take you to court. So that is kind of ass backwards. It should be you get served with papers first, and then you have your due process rights. And then if it's found, then you have your guns taken away. But law enforcement does it backwards. Courts do it backwards. I agree, the red flag laws are very sketchy. I understand why it's there. I don't agree with it, but it's sketchy.
So who makes the decision if you're not mentally fit?
Your neighbor can call
The
the cops
sheriff?
on you.
You're not,
The sheriff,
law
a neighbor
enforcement.
can Baker Act.
Karen
Yeah.
next door.
They can make something up.
so the way
Karen
it
next
currently
door,
You can be
operates,
Baker acted for no reason.
since he's sitting here and he spells his name incorrectly, he spells it with a PH, all right? I'm gonna pick on him.
Yeah. Look
So,
up the, look
if-
up the King James version of the New Testament.
I think it's
With
with
a
a V,
PH.
isn't it?
It was the first guy to get stoned. Saint Stephen, with a PH.
Stone in which way? With like a rock stone or like stone stone?
Depends if you live in the Bronx or not.
So, yeah. So, the red flag law indicates if I'm his neighbor and I think he's a danger, I could call law enforcement
Yep.
and say, I think he's mentally unstable.
Uh-huh.
He came out screaming at me, he got in my face. Next thing you know, he's dragged into court within 72 hours and his gun rights are gone.
Temporary.
Temporarily, at least until you're in court.
Right.
And I represented, well, either prosecuted or represented people with the red flag laws, and you're not gonna win. You're just not gonna win. They're gonna take your guns.
Oh, the person being
The courts will.
accused,
The courts,
Oh, yeah.
you're not gonna win it.
The chances of you winning that are
Really?
slim to none.
if someone could
Slim
just
enough.
say anything they
Yep.
wanna say, that's it.
Yep.
You could just lose, I mean,
But as an attorney
That's
general, it's my job to say, I'm defending this law. I don't agree with it. I don't. I think it's a crap law. But it's there.
But you can make an effort to do away with the laws.
No, you can't.
You can't.
No,
Why?
that's up to the legislature.
Legislator makes the law.
That's where separation of powers comes in.
But you can educate legislators.
You can educate legislators
Good luck.
to do it.
yeah, there you
But-
go.
Yeah.
When there's no sunshine rule in Tallahassee, it's hard to educate 40 people or 100 people that are out to lunch altogether. You can't do it.
Nobody cares anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, can you talk about Dana Nessel and Whitmer up in Michigan and how illegal they are and the crimes they're committing? Do you know anything about that?
I know about Gretchen Whitmer, but I don't know about the other one.
Oh, that's her attorney general.
Yeah,
Oh.
that I can't comment, but I know that they have,
Oh.
I mean, could be why, I was there, I can't even think of who the governor was there. I remember Jeffrey Feiger running for governor when I was there. He was the attorney who represented Jack Kevorkian and Dr. Death for assisted suicide. And I was there back in the 90s when Detroit was going through all its corruption. But I don't know enough information about the question you're
That's
asking. So
interesting.
I'm
You
sorry.
would find it interesting.
Absolutely. And, the purpose of the Attorney General is not to bully people, not to threaten people, not to intimidate people. It's there to,
What made me think of them is when you said the governor doesn't, the attorney general is not the governor's personal attorney. And that is exactly how she acts.
that's what I know is going on in Michigan.
Yes.
And it happens in a lot of liberal leaning states. And it shouldn't be that way. If I'm derelict of my duty, if I've committed malfeasance or misfeasance or nonfeasance, remove me. If I'm not defending the laws, I shouldn't be the Attorney General.
Right. They'd like to.
Yes, sir.
You won't if I Baker Act you.
If I never read this law, will they
Think of that.
give you a heads up, we're coming with the warrant next week? So
No.
you can lose all your vote, they fall overboard?
No,
No,
no.
Come in with a
so,
warrant?
no, so a complaint comes in
Yep.
that your neighbor is crazy, mental health related issues, and poses a danger to society. Law enforcement will do an initial investigation. They'll look up prior history, speak to your neighbors. They then are allowed to knock on your door, hand you paperwork and say, turn over your firearms. Then they go to the sheriff's department, file paperwork, a petition for forfeiture to take your firearms. And you have to be in court within so much time.
But they give you a little space to take out for a boat ride, and if something happens and they fall overboard, what are they gonna do?
There's a solution to that, it's called a gun trust.
Well, yeah. I've set up quite a few of them.
You don't know what that is.
So,
Corrupt sheriff.
the Attorney General's role is to defend the laws of the state of Florida and to make, go ahead.
I was gonna ask because you
Am
see
I okay?
attorney generals in the past get involved in things like consumer protection
Yeah.
and so forth.
Correct.
So what's your position on that? Like,
That's all under the civil litigation component, whether it's consumer protection, price gouging from storms. Yeah, that's part of, representing the people of the state of Florida.
or Democrat organizations
Or-
calling me.
What? Yeah, exactly, which is very possible. Yeah, but it's all under the civil litigation component, which is you have to defend, because the client is not the governor, the client is not the legislature, the client is not the Florida court system. Client
State.
are the 20 million people that reside
Yep.
in the state of Florida. And I think it's important that, of all, there's 4 people running for Attorney General.
Yeah, can you name them?
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Not that I wanna
There's
know
2
them.
Republicans, including
Okay.
me,
Right,
and 2 Democrats.
okay. And who's your
So-
opponent? Are
So here's the way I will tell you this. If you want someone who has never been in a courtroom, then vote for one of the other 3 people.
Wow, you're kidding.
If you want someone who's never prosecuted a case, vote for one of the other 3 people. If you want someone who's never been inside of a jail before to visit clients, then vote for one of the other 3 people.
That's
I'm
crazy.
dead
I mean,
serious.
They have no resume. I'm just saying, that doesn't
Well-
sound like they're even qualified.
So
So
here's,
have they been
so-
in a jail
so
cell
let-
as the client?
Mr. Huffmeyer may be joining him here soon after the Hope Florida grand jury comes through. So
How you say it?
the current Attorney General graduated law school in, I think, 2015, 2016. Worked for a law firm in Washington, D.C. for about a year.
Okay.
Then went to go work for the Department of Commerce in Washington. Then went to Governor DeSantis's to the General Counsel's office as an assistant general counsel. Then became Governor DeSantis's chief of staff, and then got appointed to the Attorney General's role when Ashley Moody went to the Senate. Now, albeit he has a lot of political contacts, okay, which is great.
Has DeSantis endorsed him?
No,
He has not.
no,
Okay.
has not yet. I mean, I'm sure it's coming. I mean, he ran DeSantis's, he
I'm
ran his
just
presidential
saying.
campaign. I'm assuming it's coming.
Not that that
Okay.
means anything
Not-
anymore.
not that it means
Endorsements
anything
don't mean
anymore.
anything.
Because I heard her say, I'm assuming you're not a Byron Donalds fan.
Not anymore, I'm not, I'm sorry.
And that's the interesting thing, is I've been an attorney 26 years. I've had over 100 jury trials. I've prosecuted
Yeah.
cases, defending cases. I'm not ashamed to say that I have defended killers. I have prosecuted killers. Everybody, according to the Constitution, is entitled to a defense.
Right.
And it's up to the government, when they're gonna take your freedom away, that the burden is on them to prove your guilt. My job isn't to get a client off. My client is to make sure the government does their job beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt to convict someone before they lose their liberties. There are many laws I don't like. I wish I was driving up 41 and I was doing 65 miles an hour to try to get here on time. And I'm like, I don't like this law of 45 miles an hour. I mean, it might be the commissioner's fault on that one. But
Everything's the
That's a state
commissioner's
road.
is this,
fault.
all right, so,
State road.
so had I gotten pulled over, I would have been wrong and I would have paid my ticket, but I don't like it. But I don't get to choose that.
Yeah.
So, I have currently represent 3 J6ers right now, trying to get their rights restored.
entrepreneurship.
And, you know, everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. I've met so many fascinating people between Miami to Tallahassee to Jacksonville to Merkel Island. And, you know, they all have the same goal. It's the process that's different. The process of how to get to that end result is different. You know, I've represented people who are billionaires. I've represented people who are homeless. I've represented people with, you know, 4 PhDs and someone who's a 6th grade dropout. And I've represented people from 6 different continents. You know, so it covers
Are you
every
working on
single.
that?
Well, if I can get a penguin from Antarctica, I guess I would. But I've represented and prosecuted everybody from every socioeconomic, cultural, and cognitive background. To me, I look at it like this. I'm not there for my own political views, although I'm very conservative with what I believe in. You know, I keep my personal and my professional separate. Oftentimes, I think many clients don't deserve to succeed on any lawsuit. I think some clients deserve to be in prison for the rest of their natural life. But that's not my job to interject my personal beliefs. My job is to make sure the rule of law is followed. And my job is to advocate for the law as it applies to my clients. So if you guys are, you know, if you guys want someone who's been the Tallahassee bureaucrat, then don't vote for me. Don't consider my name. You know, if you guys want someone who's been in the trenches, whether it's, you know, just like in the military, you know, if you want someone next to you who's been there, who has the training, who has the experience. But I don't care if the other Republican candidate or the 2 Democratic candidates, they've never done a trial. That's baffling to me.
It's amazing they're running for
It's baffling
that
for me.
office then.
Oh, there's so many people that are in office that is baffling to all of us.
So,
Look at New
So-
York City's mayor.
yeah.
Yeah, really.
So, but just to kind of finish up, I'm a licensed attorney in Florida, a licensed attorney in Ohio, a licensed attorney in Washington, D.C., all the federal courts in the state of Florida. There's 3 of them, plus the U.S. Court of Appeals in Atlanta, Georgia. And I have spoken around the country as an organizational psychologist, as an expert in courts as well. You know, so it's how do you deal with people? That's what I'm hearing around the state is, can you communicate? Can you cooperate? Can you collaborate? That doesn't mean you have to cave to every single issue people want. But the law is about communication. The law is about working. Now, there's gonna be activist judges, I gotta deal with them. And they're out there, I've seen them, I've been in front of them. I know which ones they are. And, you know, I'm looking forward to continue going through this process as well.
So I'm gonna start with some of the questions.
All right, ask me.
It's, we're moving on here. I think you have touched on this question a little bit, so we're gonna fly over it rather quickly. What is the primary duty of an attorney general? And if I get a chance to get the other people in here, they're gonna get many of the same
Sure.
questions.
That's what the envelopes are for on the table, huh? All right,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, some of these
so
are.
put your
are
question in an envelope.
Ask them.
All right,
No, you can ask them openly too, but.
Sure.
We kind of went over that. I think you
so it's
explained that.
criminal cases. It is criminal appeals, crime victims compensation funds. You represent the people of the state of Florida. You don't represent the government of the state of Florida. You represent the state and all civil appeals, and then the state's waterways, parks, and roads. That's the purpose.
When federal law conflicts with Florida law, what should how should conflicts be analyzed?
Well, I'm gonna reverse the question a little bit. What happens when Florida law conflicts with federal law? So you have the preemption. Federal law governs, period. If federal law has taken on an issue, then federal law is what is primary. We have it going on right now with AI. We have
Yeah.
some states who are pushing for the AI Bill of Rights. Florida's currently, I think the House just voted for it, or the Senate just voted for the AI Bill of Rights. And President Trump has said there needs to be a national standard that regulates AI. I tend to agree with President Trump on this one, because if we have 50 different states governing what AI can do in any given state, you're gonna have 50 different set of rules. Unlike abortion, which is a state's right, they need to, the federal government said it is a state right, go back.
Does the federal government, possess only enumerated powers or general, police powers as well?
Both.
What's your perspective?
Both. The federal government has general powers, but that's why you have the 10th Amendment that sends everything back to the states when the federal government can't do. Police powers as well comes under, until Hoover came in, really had no police powers. But we have police powers when you're talking about federal law. Whether it's multi-jurisdictional, you've got, bank robbery is a federal crime because you're robbing an FDIC bank. So you've got the federal police powers. We've got ICE that's dealing with immigration. ICE is part of the FBI and everybody else, so there has to be some sort of federal police agency.
If you guys wanna break in and ask questions,
I have
Go for
definitely a
it.
question.
Yes, sir.
How does the state of Florida, controlled by a group of individuals, want to take electric course through the roof in this state with solar energy and all this crap? Is that legal? Can they legally do that?
Can the state of Florida,
The state of Florida is supposed to be, in their bylaws, they say they're supposed to represent the people.
correct,
Well, they're not representing the people. When there's a group of individuals who control these companies that produce electricity, we used to have one of the cheapest electricities in the country.
Yep.
We're gonna end up being the most expensive electricity in the
In
country.
the top third now.
we are in the top
went from
third.
One of the cheapest.
Yeah, Florida was just ranked in the top 5 most expensive states to live in. And it could be, that's part of it. A lot of our elected bureaucrats, I mean, if you look at their PACs, if you look at their political action committees, I was looking at a few of the legislators today, $100,000 from FPL, $300,000 from this company. Someone was given, $250,000 from an alcohol beverage company. Well, that's the money for the special interest coming in. So who is your loyalty to? Supposed to be to your constituents and the people, but you know what? Someone gives me $1 million, you're gonna think twice. You start looking at all these contracts the state of Florida gives out to contractors, look at who they've donated money to. And that's why we have blind contracts. Because you don't know who's getting the contracts to do certain jobs in the state of Florida. A company gives, I'm just gonna hypothetically say, let's say a company gives $5 million to Governor DeSantis's presidential campaign when he ran in '24. And then they're looking for one of the contracts to build out Alligator Alcatraz. And a company happens to get the bid. They don't even bid because it's under an emergency executive order. The governor can just say, I'm giving you the contract to build out Alligator Alcatraz. It's very suspicious. I have not accepted any money from special interest, 0. Yes, ma'am.
In the same vein, sort of, you've got Keith Ellison in Minnesota, right? And you have these leftist, Soros, whatever, groups donating all this money. How do you fight that?
It's corruption.
I mean, you as
It's RICO. That is the
I
racketeering
know, but.
Influence Corruption
seems
Act. That's
like
RICO.
nothing gets done, but is anything like that, would you have to be fighting anything like that?
Absolutely.
With the candidates here?
Absolutely. And let me give you a prime example. I'm also the city attorney for Punta Gorda. And Representative Oliver is the representative who for the city. I've known her for 20 years. She's a conservative and so am I. But I think what she was doing was wrong. The way she did file a bill that both the city and the county both opposed. And I called her out. Now, I'm not saying she's corrupt, but it was bad. So as an attorney, it is my job to investigate things with whatever investigators, detectives. I know that Mr. Fleming here is a former retired New York City detective. He understands you have to look into cases. And corruption is bad. So yes, I don't care who the person is. I really, truly don't. I mean, I've gone to battle with some of the most powerful people in Southwest Florida, and that's not my job to care. Does that answer your question?
Well, my question really was, the dirty money that is coming in to, say, your opponents.
Mhm.
Do you have,
Right now, I have no authority to do anything,
right?
but I'm taking notes and I'm taking names.
Can you stop it?
FAFO,
The next one was Aussie.
I sell those hats.
two items.
Yes.
One a question, one just a statement. If you do decide to, do that Veterans Task Force, please let me know. I'd love to be part of it.
Absolutely. I'm gonna make sure I get your number.
Second, are you aware of what happened with CARE today at the Capitol and whatnot?
I am not. I was in court all day today, so I'm not aware of what happened there.
So the current AG drew a proverbial red line in the sand, and said that CARE was a terrorist organization.
You're talking about Pam Bondi or our current Florida AG?
Florida.
Okay?
And that, as per the state, it is a terrorist organization. They went ahead and held their event anyway, and I would just like to know why he didn't arrest them. They're
They
a
never
terrorist
get arrested.
organization, they should be arrested,
They never do.
and he did nothing.
It's called selective prosecution. You pick and choose who you want to prosecute.
We hope you. be
Here's
different.
my mentality, okay? Although I believe personally in certain things, I can't sit here and say, because you believe differently than me, I'm coming after you criminally. It's not until you break a law do you get criminally prosecuted. I also have a problem with our current AG saying, I think Ozzy committed a crime, so I'm going to issue subpoenas to your bank, to your home, search warrants, and try to find a crime. That's what they did to President Trump. They found a person and then tried to find a crime. That's not the way criminal law works. Criminal law says a crime was committed. Now we have to figure out who did it. That's the difference. That's my mentality.
Big difference.
Big difference. I don't find the person first and then try to manufacture a crime. If that's what happened, I'm gonna look into it.
So where did this
That if they
happen?
declared them a
It's
terrorist
going
organization,
viral. It's going viral.
then
In Tallahassee
if they're a
today.
terrorist organization,
They are.
then people should be arrested.
The CARE, the Muslim Brotherhood, from
I had-
Tampa. They're out of Tampa. They run out of Tampa.
Going around, Cindy,
Okay, now,
It's
I
been
like
like
your
that.
package,
Every time.
you're well educated, you
They
went to
get
some
all
of the best
Texas,
schools
they live in
in the
Texas
country, I've
in
had
March.
colleagues that went on to those schools.
It's over.
You're a
Because
very
they don't
friendly
live in
person,
Texas, Florida.
you're doing a
They're gonna
great
get
job
it.
in our community,
They're gonna get it.
and, you're a nice person, you seem very genuine, but I have some things, because I've been targeted in this community for 28 years and counting, and I am protected, by the way, I don't tell people that, but I am protected. I know Ohio, I'm gonna back you right in the corner, because I can't trust anybody. I've had lawyers target me over and over, dentists, hairstylists, cops.
We need to get the question,
So
I'm
anyway,
sorry.
there's several things that I'm concerned about. I know Ohio and Michigan, from my research, my 12 and a half years of investigating, are massively corrupt, massively. That's a concern that you came from those places. Another, and not saying that that's, makes you a corrupt person. Another, thing is the building we bought, 306 East Olympia Avenue. I happen to run around with the attorney that owned that building for years. And I know
Cindy, I'm sorry, what is the question?
well, I'm giving a background.
Okay, but
For 28 years,
we
well, it'll
need to
make
move forward
sense.
to the question.
For 28, I'm holding him accountable. I wanna feel comfortable with supporting this man. For 28 years, I've known this person from the Kiwanis Club, this attorney, he's corrupt. He came after me when I refused to break the law and play the illegal criminal syndicate games. So I just cannot believe that you don't know that Attorney Derek Rooney, who's been showing up at our city council meetings, was his son, when he just bought the father's building. I just find that really hard to believe that you didn't know that that was his son. And,
What is the question?
also, I'm asking him to verify these things. And then, I just question if it's a conflict of interest being the city attorney while you're running for attorney general and wanting to be everybody's friend
No.
to get the votes.
So yes, I will confirm I'm from Ohio. I will confirm I lived in Michigan. I'm sorry. Yes, I will confirm I born and raised in Ohio, and I went to law school in Michigan.
Oh, go very corrupt states.
But at the same time, Ohio is called the birthplace of the presidency because more presidents were born in Ohio than anywhere else.
That's right.
8 presidents were born in Ohio. My understanding, because yes, I did buy the building from Mike Rooney, who used to be the city's attorney.
It was acid from corruption.
That I don't know. That could have been long
Back in
before I knew that.
1995, I think
It's
it
my
was.
understanding Derek is not his son, that it is a different Rooney family,
That's interesting.
and that's my understanding.
Okay, I'll look into
And the
that.
last part is there's no conflict of interest because what I'm doing in terms of campaigning is on my time, not on the city's time. So there's a huge difference.
So we had a question over here, right? And then,
All right, go ahead.
I think I'm asking for some sort of a commitment. I'll make it quick. Years ago, I met with, do you remember when the midnight flights were coming in, the planes coming in 2, 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
They flew right over my house.
Into the Charlotte County or to the Punta Gorda Airport?
Buses were picking them up, and off they went, wherever they were going. All illegal, all against the law, shouldn't have been happening. I asked the governor one time in a meeting, in his answer, can't you stop that? I have nothing to do with the federal aviation, that's the federal government, I can't do it. And I told him, I said, those bus drivers that are picking them up in your state, they're all unionized, they all know each other. You arrest one of those for breaking the law for illegal transportation of a prisoner, and that'll end it because no one's gonna pick them up. He just shoved me off like they all do.
what's the question?
So your question is,
What's the
Will you
question?
make a commitment to arrest some of these people that are breaking the law?
if someone's breaking the law, they're gonna get arrested.
Transporting illegal aliens.
If they are transporting, whether it's national, transnational, they're gonna be arrested for breaking the law.
Well, they haven't yet.
Well, I've never got
But I
arrested.
can tell you this, I'm an elected commissioner on the airport authority,
Right.
and all flight patterns and flight times are governed by the FAA.
I get that, but when they get off the airplanes, they put them on a city bus, they're not jurisdiction, and they're taken all over the place. That's when they could have got them. I don't think anyone wants to stop them.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah, but that's all stopped. Hopefully, I mean, that's all
That's
stopped.
what
I mean,
you-
we're not,
when you're in a
the
different
borders are shut
jurisdiction.
down. We're not picking them up
Off the airplane.
anymore.
What's your thoughts on Kim Montry's campaign, considering she lives at one address now, and is representing the school, that district as a school board member, but she's running for county commission in another district?
So, and as you finish talking, you point, that you look right over here. So let me first address it, and then I'm gonna
See,
say,
before you do,
So-
may I ask one
yeah,
question?
no.
No, because it pertains to it.
All right,
She signed an affidavit when she ran for the school board, which is in effect because she's an duly elected member of the school board
Yeah.
from a particular address. To run for an office in another district didn't she have to sign another affidavit with a different address? So she signed two different affidavits with two different addresses for two different positions.
All right, so let me answer it this way. Here's my understanding, okay? Is she lives in, I believe it's District 2.
Yep.
The PGI area, the whole BSI and PGI.
Yep.
Signed the affidavit to run in District 2 school board. Has then purchased a home
And she was elected after
and
that.
purchased a home, what are you, District 4?
Yeah, but she was elected and serves there.
Yeah, she
And
was
is serving
elected and
there.
served in District 2.
And
Still
is.
does.
And still does, and has a home in District 4. Recently purchased a home
Yeah.
in District 4. I think it was like it wasn't far before she announced her candidacy for District 4. Now, I don't know all the county rules, but here's my understanding. That you have to be a resident of your district for so much time before you announce your candidacy. That's my understanding. I may be mistaken on that.
6 months.
Okay, well then
But
it's
there
6
was,
months.
there was a Supreme
Now-
Court case where they appealed that, but, and I haven't read it and seen it. And the Supreme Court case, again, you'd have to look at what founded
Yeah.
it, overrode them.
Yeah.
There was one Supreme Court case
So,
that did override them.
Here's the way I will answer that, okay? I don't, when it comes to local folks, I don't bash people. I will bash their policies.
Right.
Okay? I first met Commissioner Deutsch 2013, 2012, somewhere around there. And he became a mentor to me when I ran for judge in 2014. Gave me tools, gave me knowledge, gave me strategies and things like that. And I remained in great contact with him over the last, I think it's 14 years. Okay? I think he is a fantastic commissioner. I think he will continue to remain a fantastic commissioner. Okay? All I know about Ms. Amantri in terms of her policies is what I've heard or what I've read. But I've never had a detailed conversation with her. He's been I guess for lack of a better term, a political mentor to me and has helped and guided me. Some people call me the teacher, but he was my teacher.
He's a great
And he
guy.
taught me a lot of things I know. So I don't know the intricacies of her candidacy because I haven't been following it. I just know I think he would make a fantastic, he is a fantastic commissioner because he speaks his mind, he speaks his truth, or he speaks the truth. And he tackles the ugly issues. That's what I think. Does that kind of answer you?
I was looking more at the legality of it, but I
He
understand.
never, I've known him all these years, he never ever said anything nice about me before.
You notice my hand was in my pocket with my fingers crossed.
So the county,
Yeah,
the county attorney doesn't have anything to say about that?
I don't know.
Is it within her
I've
realm to?
As the city attorney, I have no say in
County
it.
attorney.
I don't know if the county attorney does or
It's
not.
being
No,
looked
no, I'm not
into.
talking,
it
that's
could
not what I'm
be-
saying.
But
I'm not
Craig,
saying him as the
but it
city.
could be the supervisor of elections who needs to deal with it. But I don't know. I don't know.
Well, that's.
I don't know.
So what?
But she's good friends with her, so.
Irrelevant.
Yep.
Well, it should be irrelevant.
Which,
Exactly.
I had a question.
Yeah,
Yes.
hold on, because John had his hand up right before you, Liz. Go
Well,
ahead.
Liz actually.
Oh,
had-
Liz did? All right, go ahead.
Right after Aussie.
All right, I'm sorry.
So you've known Vanessa Oliver for.
A long time.
Grant Oliver for 20 years.
Oh, boy.
I'm wondering, and I'm sure you've been at different functions with her and friends with her probably. I wonder if she just didn't think that you would question her.
I don't think,
I'm thinking would she
like,
think?
if I would question her,
Yeah.
or whether
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
city
yeah.
and the county would question
Well,
her.
you're the.
Well, I know
city
she got
attorney.
upset when me on behalf of the
I don't think
city,
she do that.
I know she got upset with me on behalf of the city, did a public information request
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get her cell phone text messages to
I don't think
county
she-
officials.
I know. I don't think she think you would do that.
No, I don't think, I know that county officials were shocked that I asked for it. But my job as the interim city attorney is to represent the interest of the
Right.
residents of the city of Punta Gorda.
I'm
And
surprised that you did that.
Oh, but see, that's what good attorneys do.
Right.
They do their homework first before they speak their mouth.
Okay, very quickly,
Let me just share this. Most of you guys know I spent 10 years in the legislature up north. And I actually got elected as a Republican in Rhode Island, which is amazing. I will tell you this, I never ever would submit, and I said this publicly, that's why she's upset with me. I never ever would have thought of submitting a bill. Usually, it's upon the request, and I had the second largest city in Rhode Island, plus the county, plus a couple of towns. I never would have thought of submitting a bill that I didn't work out with the local community first, and I said that. I have asked 5, 6, 7 other legislators, and they all told me exactly the same thing. Lindsey Harrington was Speaker of the House. I said, did you ever do that? He said, of course not. And most of the legislation that I put in is when people requested it. I didn't go ahead and do it. And when she made that first call to me, I told her that. And there's only one other legislator since I've been here on the commission, 15 years, that ever did that. And we liked the idea, but he publicly said that he ran it through us, and he said it in Tallahassee, that we approved it, and it was for Babcock Ranch, and we didn't have a problem with it, but he never did that. And the bottom line is that was her father.
Which goes back
Because
to.
Mike Grant did it when he was in the House.
Which goes back to
Same
your
thing.
question, in my professional opinion, it's special interests behind it. Because the city didn't request it, and the county
And
didn't
she's
request
saying the
it.
city did.
No, the city never
I
did.
know, I
Right.
know.
And it's been refuted, that's been refuted.
And we're
So
together in
that
that,
goes-
absolutely.
All
So I
right,
think
hold on,
if-
Craig, John,
wait.
John.
I had a question for you. This is a general observation now as a citizen. From working with the coalition I had, I found out that it seems as if in Charlotte County, I don't know if it's throughout the state, Charlotte County has very little oversight as it comes to the operations of the county. The county attorney seems to be the attorney for the county, not like an inspector general. Do you think that counties that operate like that, from the perspective of the state attorney general, do you see any problem with that? Because to me, it seems there's very little oversight for county government, very little. And bringing up issues as a citizen, it seems Charlotte County was very hesitant or not very motivated to discuss issues like that.
Let me give you an example, okay? When I first became interim city attorney, one of my first phone calls was to Pam Smith, the chief of police. And she says to me, why are you calling me? I said, I'd like to sit down and talk to you. She said, do you realize in all my years of being the police chief, the prior attorney never called her? Never. So I speak on a regular basis with council members, with Dr. Reichert, the city manager, with urban design, with the whole staff. I'm meeting with them, talking to them, because everything has to flow through indirectly or directly through the legal department off to Dr. Reichert. So I can't comment on how their prior county attorney was or how their new one is. The new one's only been here for a couple weeks now. I think it's very important for the county attorney to know as much, if not sometimes more, than what the manager knows. The manager makes the final call outside of what they need board approval for, but there needs to be oversight.
They don't want it.
The amount of research that I'm asked to do now is unbelievable. But I trust them to give me the information I need to be able to give a legal opinion back to them on whether something I believe is good, bad, or ugly. I think it's very important. And to me, that's the accountability, that's the oversight, because we're all communicating and collaborating together on what is best for the organization.
We got you on tape.
I agree.
Absolutely, and that's the way I've been for 25 years.
So I wanna move on to
You're
some,
saying that oversight is good to an attorney,
Absolutely.
which is okay. And I believe what you're saying to me earlier, that you don't let your personal beliefs get involved in that. What happens when you have an attorney that does that?
It's scary.
That's what I'm.
So there's what's called the golden rule, Craig. The golden rule in court is, let's say I'm representing a client in a criminal case. I haven't handled criminal cases in a while now. Let's say I'm handling a client, let's say his name's John Doe. And I get up in front of a jury or in front of the judge and say, I believe this is what it is. I'm violating what's called the golden rule, putting my personal belief into what the rule of law says. I just had this conversation with the city the other day when they went through this civility pledge stuff. There's a difference of me saying, you're an ass, and you're an awful person and should be removed from council. As opposed to saying, the way you consistently vote and the way that you consistently backlash everybody should require you to step down from office. I'm saying the exact same thing. One way I'm giving my opinion, one way I'm giving a factual account. So the golden rule is when you violate the golden rule by implementing your personal beliefs into something, you've crossed that line. And I believe it's unethical.
so.
That's my personal belief.
Now, if you say the
That
facts.
If I say the facts, now, I'm allowed to say, I think you should find so-and-so guilty, or I think you should find so-and-so not guilty. I don't. I say the evidence shows they're guilty, or the evidence does not show.
So let's continue that question with the next one here. When there are situations such as this one here, should a Florida general defend a state law when they believe that that state law is unconstitutional?
Absolutely.
And how are you gonna do that?
That's his job.
Because that's my ethical duty.
That's his job.
That's my job. My job is, I don't make the laws. I can't be an activist attorney. I can't sit there and say, well, I'm gonna disregard what the Florida legislature did and what the governor signed off on. That's their job. And if they pass the law, it's my job to defend it, whether I personally like it or not.
And this goes back to,
So if you don't like the law, then you vote out who was instrumental in putting it in place.
should Florida ever challenge federal mandates or regulations in court?
Absolutely.
We have absolutely had that.
Absolutely.
In previous,
Yep.
in recent.
Yep, when the federal government is overstepping, overreaching, and violating the 10th Amendment, you need to take the federal government to court. You have to.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
I went to Jeremy Brown, a prisoner's, Jay Sitzer's, his trial in Tampa. No. And I was told something about in that district, you might as well, he's gonna, they're gonna find him, they're gonna really put him through the racket, more or less. And sure enough, they did. It was unbelievable, the corruption from the judge and the prosecutors. It was just unbelievable, and I know nothing about the law. It was just shocking. And the judge was up there, and she was yelling across the courtroom to his girlfriend that was sitting in the galley with us, saying that she's, I know you were trying to influence the jurors out in the hall yesterday. We're gonna get you kicked out. Now is she an activist judge by doing that? I mean, it was unbelievable what she was doing. And that was like, what district courtroom is that?
So,
Was
the
that-
short, based on what you've said,
Yeah.
the short answer would be no, not an activist judge.
Mr.
Because, could be a corrupt judge, I don't know. An activist judge is someone who disregards the law and imposes their personal will on a certain party. If the girlfriend was in the gallery making hand gestures or trying to influence the jury and the judge saw it, she can be, the individual could be held in contempt, direct criminal contempt, or removed from the courtroom.
Right.
And that the judge is permitted to do. Why? Because it's the rule of law. When you're in a courtroom, there's certain,
Right, I
you know,
understand.
you don't show up in shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah, she was not doing that. I'm talking about what, out in the hall, she was saying things were going on and it was not. But,
Well, that is a judge overstepping their bounds.
yeah, she definitely
If a
was.
judge doesn't witness it,
She did not,
then-
no, she was yelling across the courtroom. I mean, literally yelling across the courtroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your view on the 10th Amendment?
well, the 10th Amendment is very important. That designates any rights that are guaranteed back to the state should go back to the states. You know, AI, I believe should be, my personal belief is, should be a federal authority. So we have all 50 states under the same parameters. Abortion, I clearly believe, is a states' right issue, which is the 10th Amendment. Each state can choose their own protocol on
And an odd question, can you define the difference between an outlaw and an in-law?
it. Outlaw and an in-law, well, one's my mother-in-law and one's my father-in-law. I'm sorry, I'm kidding that I said that.
This came up as a funny comment in my house, actually. An outlaw is wanted, an in-law is not.
Okay, all right.
All right, joke aside. All right. What is the proper role of the courts in constitutional disputes?
The role of the courts in
Yeah,
constitutional disputes.
When you have, yeah.
So, I'll use the state of Florida and the Florida Constitution. If an attorney asks for a law to be declared unconstitutional, and if a court declares the law to be unconstitutional, it's only unconstitutional in regards to that particular case, period. It's not unconstitutional in the entire state of Florida. It's only that case. So then you have to go to the Florida Supreme Court to have them declare the law unconstitutional, to have it declared statewide.
Alright. What limits exist on executive emergency powers?
So,
Let me see one.
well, it should be what limits exist
Well,
and what we currently have are two different things. So, I think Governor DeSantis is a fantastic governor, but I disagree with the way he has continued to expand his emergency powers in regards to immigration.
We have 3 of them on hurricanes right now.
Well, we have 3 of them on hurricanes as well. And an emergency executive power by the governor is meant for the purpose of a true emergency. You know, Governor DeSantis has routinely continued to expand his executive authority on immigration since 2020 in order, and when he has an emergency, there's no bidding when it comes to contracts. He can give blind jobs out to contractors. And that's how Alligator Alcatraz got built, which I think is a great idea.
But
it
But
was done the wrong way.
we don't know who got the contracts. We don't know where the money was spent. We don't even know how much damn money was spent.
$400 million from.
That's why.
Well, it
that's
was
why-
up to 440.
That's why it's executive power.
And that's why it's an executive power. Is there a still emergency? Well, there's an emergency on immigration, yeah.
Using it, are they?
But
Sometimes you.
there's gotta be, that's where the legislature tries to push back. And then that's why we have quarrels going on between the legislature and our governor.
Supposedly the federal government paid the state of Florida back, but I haven't seen any evidence to that effect.
The federal government, FEMA and DHS has authorized $605 million to come back to the state of Florida for building Alligator Alcatraz.
Yes.
Which sets
but-
up the appeal that's going on in Atlanta right now.
Yes, but follow the money, when did it get transferred?
Correct. We don't know.
Nobody knows.
We don't know because it's
That's what
under,
I'm getting at.
it's under executive order, so we may never find out. We may never find out.
How do you define consent of the governed in terms of today versus when the Constitution was first written?
Consent of the government?
No, consent of the governed.
Consent of the governed.
Yeah, the people. The governed are the people.
I mean, I think there's two different ways for me to answer that.
Well,
I
Well,
think,
it has been stretched a bit
Well,
compared to what the founding fathers intended.
yeah,
What's the question again?
How do you define the consent of the governed today versus what was intention, or what the intention was by the founding fathers?
well, the intent was to be, you know, the home of the free and land, or what, the land of the free and home of the brave. That was the intent. The intent is that you're not under tyranny of rule, and that everybody can live a happy, productive life. You know, I think it was hard to look back and say automobiles and cars and AI and everything else that was gonna be coming. You know, some people believe the Constitution is a living document and changes over time. Some people believe it's textual. It's just, that's what it is, period. I think the people have been stripped of a lot of rights. I think the people have been given a lot of rights at the same time. So to me, it's kind of hard, but the government has overstepped a lot of what I believe the initial founders thought was going to happen.
What are you going to do then, when elected as Attorney General to protect the
What is
rights of the
anybody else
people?
gonna do?
He's not, he
Well,
can't do.
When it comes to the federal,
Against that overreach.
that's where you have to look into corruption. But I can't do anything in regards to federal law unless it conflicts with state law, or vice versa. That's the only thing we
But there
can
are
do.
rights on the state level that you can protect of the people.
Well, and that's where the 10th Amendment comes in big time, which is consistently telling the government, the federal government, to back off, because this is a states' rights issue.
Alright, very good. Do constitutional rights come from government, or do they pre-exist it?
Well,
The
Bill of Rights?
Yeah, do the constitutional rights come from the government or pre-exist it?
Well, they pre-existed, because they go back to 1215 with the Magna Carta back in England, where those rights were initially founded there. But,
And the Mayflower Compact.
and the Mayflower Compact, so it goes back, 600 years, almost 600 years before we actually got them. But our founders were, we don't want tyranny, we don't want ruling by a king, we don't want dictatorship. So that's why freedom of speech is the first right provided in the Constitution.
There's a book out there that I recommend people read. It's actually just called the Magna Carta. Very good book. And the second one that I would suggest is by Cesar Beccaria, called On Crime and Punishment. Have you read it?
I have.
You should.
It's
What
a
is
book
it?
that's now banned in high schools.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
But I read it when I was in high
It's
school.
Yeah. Rule of law versus political loyalty. If the governor or senior executive official are under investigation, what constitutional principles guide your decision-making to ensure independence and avoid conflict of interest?
I look at it like this. Doing this 26 years, I'm bound to piss off somebody. And if you're not pissing off somebody, you're not doing your job.
Amen.
That's the way I look at it. So, I've never been the yes sir, no sir person. Just because you tell me to do something doesn't mean I'm gonna do it when it comes to the law. Okay?
He's got my vote.
But, if my wife tells me something, it's a different story. But,
Now you really got my vote.
but, that's where
We lost 3.
my political ideologies should have no bearing on the rule of law. Period. I believe that we shouldn't abort babies. I don't care what time frame. I believe that anyone who touches a kid should either get the death penalty, which ironically is Florida law, but it's unconstitutional because you can't do it. The Supreme Court has already said you can't kill someone for touching a kid. That's gonna be challenged in court, but I would defend the law because it's what it says. But the law also says you can be chemically castrated for touching a kid. But for some reason, Florida doesn't do it. So my political ideologies are on, the far right. That's my personal. But when it comes to the law is the law, period.
How do you understand the Attorney General's constitutional role within the separation of powers, and what limits should exist on the Department of Justice when the governor's priorities conflict with congressional statutes or judicial rulings?
Tough. That's
kind
the
of
easiest way I say it. Tough. The battle going on between the governor or a governor and the legislature, that's their damn problem.
Exactly.
That's not my problem.
Exactly.
My problem is if you guys pass the laws and you guys enact the laws and the governor signs the law, I'm gonna defend the law.
This question kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier. If sort of reversed though, if a Florida city asserts home rule, when should the state intervene?
They shouldn't. The state shouldn't be telling the city how to run
They
themselves.
do all the time.
But they do all the time. Well, only Charlotte County. No, I mean, there has to be uniformity in certain areas of the law. However, there's the home rule as well. Somebody in Tallahassee, it's very hard for me to believe that they can tell Charlotte County how to spend their tax dollars. That's why you have constituents here who elect people here. You can't come in and say, well, your budget went up $150 million, therefore you overspent $150 million. Because why? The cost of asphalt has gone up, the cost of concrete has gone up, the cost of lumber has gone up. Everything has gone up in retrospect. So Tallahassee needs to get their butts out of home rule and just do what you have to do for uniformity among the state.
Ozzy?
So for years, I've floated this idea around, and I want to get your take on the legality of it, so that I do or I don't keep on floating it around. Legislators have term limits. What is wrong with giving death row inmates term limits?
I want to make sure I understand.
What?
The average, Ozzy, the average death row inmate is on death row for 21 years.
Exactly.
So you're saying.
Or 50.
Or 50. So what I understand is, look, you hit that 15-year limit, 10-year limit, whatever, bam, you're done, you're out.
5 years.
Well, let me give you an example, okay?
Why do we have to keep on paying for these people that have been on death row
$60,000
for average of 21 years?
Yeah.
And they've killed a cop, they've raped a kid. I mean, what are we talking about here?
The average inmate in the state of Florida is $43,000 a year per inmate. We've got 83,000 inmates in the state of Florida. That's just in state prison system, not including the county jail system. And it costs roughly almost $90,000 a year per death row inmate. Now,
What does it cost us to
That
lead
is
to
more
death?
than
That's
the
what I-
average.
it's
income.
$90,000 a year for someone to be
kill.
housed.
To kill.
Oh, to kill them? I mean, whatever the cost of the fluid is to
Yeah.
put it in their,
Okay.
put it in their arm. So,
Could you do it cheaper?
Yeah, well,
You can reuse the road, and
So-
it's cheap.
here's.
Yeah, rope is cheap.
So the death penalty comes from a crime being heinous, atrocious, and cruel. It has to meet those three standards. Florida now has it no longer has to be a unanimous vote for someone to get the death penalty.
Thank God.
Okay? And as a result of that, people are being placed on death row. But the typical criminal appeal on a death row, just the first appeal is normally 5 to 7 years.
It's automatic.
It's automatically on
Has to
it,
be
yeah,
appealed.
so it's automatic.
That's the problem.
I can understand the first general appeal. I can understand the second general appeal, which is normally the habeas corpus. But after that, you should be done. Now, the theory comes in with Ozzy, is it better to let 9 guilty people go free or convict and wrongfully put to death an innocent person? That's the magic question.
If you spend 20 years appealing this thing, haven't you covered it all already?
Well, and that's me playing the hypothetical back
Jeez,
too.
please.
So fortunately, with the new technology, with the way forensics are coming through, we're finding more and more DNA that is exonerating people that weren't able to be tested years or decades ago. I think we're gonna see here in the years coming up, death row inmates will be on death row a hell of a lot shorter than what they have been in the past.
Oh, but I'm not talking about that, of, running its course. No, I'm talking about a law that gives them a certain set amount. 6
can't.
years, you wanna call it 6 years? 6 years. Be done with it.
You
Definite
can't.
If
sentencing.
you haven't resolved your problem in 6 years,
Appeals process as well.
But that's the due process problem.
and then, so why does it take so long?
They're not gonna do
It
it.
shouldn't take 4 to 7
Because
years.
some attorneys stall the process, the courts are so backed up. The courts have, in the last several years, this year they asked for, I think it was 84 more judges across the state. In this circuit alone, the 20th Circuit, Charlotte, Collier, Henry, Glades, Lee counties, they asked for 24 new judges. And do you know how many the legislature has authorized? 0. So that is how backed up the court system is. And because it is so backed up in the state court system, it is even more backed up in the appellate court system.
I feel it's being done on purpose though.
But it's Tallahassee.
And our state is.
Our state has grown so immensely in just the last decade. The court system hasn't been able to keep up because the legislature won't fund the court system. If we could get 10 more judges, just 10, you would see cases speeding up in the system. I asked for a hearing date today on a simple case. The judge's office called me back and said, how about June 10th? June 10th. To get in front of a judge for 30 minutes.
Whatever happened to the speedy trial?
There's no such thing. There's no such thing of a speedy trial anymore. There isn't.
And our state isn't even the worst. I had a speeding ticket in Tennessee.
Oh, I'm sorry,
And-
I keep moving.
And it went, I got it in July, and the first court date wasn't till November.
Sounds about right. All right, go ahead.
All right. How should the Department of Justice balance public safety with constitutional guarantee of due process?
To me, they're hand in hand. So the constitutional protection of due process, I mean, the founders 250 years ago granted due process because it was stripped by Old England.
Yes.
So they wanted to make sure that was guaranteed. So, but then you have the Department of Justice who has to do what they have to do. So, we heard during the Biden administration, the weaponization of the Justice Department. I think the Department of Justice in and by itself has become weaponized across the board. And until the Department of Justice can neutralize itself with a good FBI director like we have now, a good CIA director, a good Secret Service director,
And get rid of deep state.
and get rid of deep state, we've got a
And deep state
fantastic,
behind deep state,
Yeah.
which is discussed in deep state, the deep state behind deep state, which is
and that's part of it. And I think,
all the
there's some,
permanent hires.
I think there's some candidates out there who wanna do what's right, and some are just, they talk the talk. But until the Department of Justice gets rid of the weaponization component, we're always gonna have a problem.
What do you think of Pam
So-
Bondi?
Go ahead.
10 minutes ago, you said you were gonna vote for me. Now you ask me about Pam Bondi. So I'm gonna give 3 answers to that. I think when Pam Bondi was the Attorney General for the state of Florida, she did a fantastic job.
Except for red flags.
Except for red flags. I think Pam Bondi, when she was not the Attorney General, was doing a fantastic job. I still think she's doing a fantastic job, but here's where something I really disagree with Pam Bondi on right now, is release the damn Epstein files.
What happened?
I don't know. I mean, there's a court order that says release them. And I think the longer the Department of Justice holds off on releasing these records, the worse it's gonna become for Republican candidates
Yep.
and down ballot candidates.
Yep.
Because it makes it appear the Department of Justice is hiding something. And if they're hiding something, who are they trying to protect? So you know what? Release the damn files, no matter how bad they are on whoever they're bad on. Get the issue behind you, get done with it, so it's not a major issue come the primaries. That's just my take on it.
Johnson just said today they were released.
Yeah, I know that they released like 1 million some files over the
They
weekend.
did release everything.
Were they?
That's what Benny Johnson
Okay,
said.
then that would be fantastic.
Elizabeth Warren's husband had 13 trips down to Pedo Island. Haha, surprise.
Yeah, and you know, and we're gonna see some, you know, and look, just because somebody's name is on something, doesn't mean they did anything, but, you know, guilty people do guilty things and innocent people do innocent things. It's called a consciousness of guilt or a consciousness of innocence, you know, and people are gonna have to, you know, defend themselves because they're on this Epstein list or flight log or
Well,
to
in
his
the
private
beginning,
island.
she said, we've got them, or whoever was saying it, they had them, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's nothing. That's
Yeah.
what threw everybody off.
Yeah.
That's what made them look guilty.
Who said they had him though? Who was it?
She did.
She did.
Who?
She did.
Was
Pam
it Bondi?
Bondi.
Bondi or before that, they said they had him.
Pam Bondi said.
When Biden was in
Back,
office, they
back
said
in
they had him.
February of last year,
Yes.
she came out and said,
Was it her?
I now have, Pam Bondi came out and said, I have all the files. And then it was, we're still going through all the files. So the whole Epstein thing, I think, can hurt Republican candidates from the top all the way down ballot. If they don't just release it and release them and let the cards roll as they may.
Conjecture says
Unless
that,
there's some very,
her
very
name's on it.
powerful people on
It
it.
might be.
Yeah, there's something about her, they got something on her, is what I've heard. Somewhere, I'm not saying about
And what?
Epstein, but I'm just
You
saying.
know what? And I know
something.
this is recording. You know, if Pam Bondi was doing something illegal and breaking the law,
She should be
Yeah.
then she should be held
It is what
accountable.
it is.
Period.
Awful.
So, tagging on to the Pam Bondi question, what is your perspective on the fact that she has still not gone after some of these high profile, thank you, high profile individuals such as George Soros, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton? They are, her and Bill Clinton are now looking at contempt of court and refusing to,
The Clintons said that they're gonna testify.
They did say that?
While we were in the meeting,
yeah.
that came through.
that just came through now?
Yes,
Okay.
today.
But shouldn't they have been arrested a long time ago?
No.
Well, Steve
No,
Bannon was.
no, because, I mean, you can't just arrest someone because you think they did something wrong. You can't do that. That's not American jurisprudence. You know, there has to be evidence of a crime to
If you're
arrest someone.
subpoenaed and you don't show up,
You can be held in, you can be held in contempt of court or contempt of Congress.
and they did that.
Yeah, but Congress's contempt power is like, okay, I don't show up, what are you gonna do? Fine me, throw me in jail for
Well,
10
Steve
days?
Bannon was.
Sure,
Steve Bannon was.
yeah.
Yeah. What about Hunter Biden? He didn't.
No, they covered him too.
Yeah, there's so much, and that, you know, that's one thing I like about President Trump, is he thinks the way I think. And I wish sometimes he could tone it down a little bit, but he, you know, I loved it when I saw him on the media here a few weeks ago, and he gave one of the media personalities the middle finger. You know? And I'm like, you know what, good for him.
I think it was in Michigan, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah, maybe it was Gretchen
No,
Whitmer. But, you know, he's a disruptor. And it's, God forbid, should the Democrats win the House, by January 8th of next year, they're gonna file articles of impeachment. It's coming. He'll be impeached 2 or 3 more times. All right,
We're running
We done?
late on time here, no, I'm just gonna send the rest of it
Alright.
to you. You're running for Attorney General, and I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to reading books and stuff like that. Have you read, or are you familiar with the book that's called The 10th Amendment, a documentary history about your role?
no. But I'm gonna remember the title of the book, and I'm gonna go
Here's the
read it
title of the
now.
book. There are a few more
But I
titles
have
in
read
it.
a lot of Dr. Seuss books, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, any other questions? I'm gonna send the rest of it,
All right,
because it's
wonderful.
8:30.
You did a great job.
All right.
Yeah, Mike.